Okay, in this video we're going to do this GetElected's mobile application. It looks like this. We're able to get coordinates where we are. We're able to click and get an address, and we're able to click to get the elected officials in that cover that address, and then we're able to click on a name here and actually see here's Congressman Takai. And so that's basically what we're going to create. And so we're going to create, here's a diagram, we're going to create this start screen with a get geocoordinates button, a couple of lat long labels, a get address button, another a set of three text input boxes here that are going to contain the house number, street, and island or zip code, and then a button here which is going to populate these this item list down here. So once we've created the screen, we're going to set up access to the services, and then we're going to create these data sources here, which are invoked and pass the data back and forth between the buttons and the services and so on. So first we're going to create the screen, and then we're going to set up we're going to get the get geocoordinates button to work completely, and then the get address to work, and then the get elected to work. So that's how we're going to proceed. So let's get started. I've logged in, and I'm going to create a new app, and I'm going to name the app Hawaii Electeds, and phone app is fine. And I'm going to begin by, on the left here, we can just click open pages, and it starts us out with a start screen. Let's click on it. And this is what our development platform looks like here. We've got a palette of controls on the left, and we've got the screen here, and then these are the properties depending on which object here we've got selected. So let's start by naming this caption here. Let's name this Hawaii Electeds, and let's do one more thing. Let's click back on the start screen up here, and let's get rid of this footer down here, and then let's get started by adding the buttons and so on. So let's add a button here, and that button is going to say get geo coordinates, and we're going to name the button btn get. I'm going to name it lat long, get lat long. Okay, next we're going to put the lat long labels here, and I want to put them side by side. So I need a grid first, the grid there, and it only needs to be one row, and then I can drag my latitude label and my longitude label here. And for the latitude label, let's say latitude, and let's name it LBL latitude. We're actually going to refer to it later, so we need to do that. And let's make it 12 point. And let's take off the center. Let's take off the left justification, left alignment. Okay, let's this label here. Let's type longitude. Let's name it LBL longitude, and let's size it to 12 and center it. Okay, next let's add the Get Address button. Go here, Get Address, and I'm going to name it btn Get Address. And let's see. Next, I'm going to, I think we're done with that. Next, I'm going to put some text boxes here for our address, and so I want them side by side, so I need a grid. And this time the grid has 2 rows, but 3 columns. And I'd like this column to be smaller than the rest, let's say 25%. This is the width, so 25%. And so it's smaller. Let's make this one 25%. Okay. And then we're not going to refer to that again. So then we can drag some input text boxes here. Let's drag one there, drag one there, drag one here. And let's click on this, and we can put, or let's remove the text, but put a placeholder of house number. And I'm going to make it mini version to make it a little smaller. And I'm going to name it txt house no. Alright, this is the street. I'm going to remove the text and type street for a placeholder, make it a mini version, and for the name I'm going to name it txt street. And the last one here, remove that. Now for a placeholder here, I'm going to put island, because the API that we're using will actually accept not only a zip code but an island as an input there. You may not. The island is a much easier thing to know, area to know than a zip code, so that's helpful. So I'm going to put that there in case we are entering, in case the user is typing in the address manually. And I'm going to name it txt. I'm still going to name it txt because that's how we're going to refer to it when the data comes back from the web service. Okay, next we are going to add the GetElected button. Let's put that down here. GetElected. And I'm going to name the button btn GetElected. And finally, I'm going to add a list here. And I want this list to have 4 items. And the first one is going to be, I'm going to say the text is mayor. And I'm going to name it ITM mayor for list item mayor. We're going to refer to that. And next one, I'm going to name this one, the text is going to be Congressman. And I'm going to name it BTN Congress. No, I'm sorry. ITM Congress. And the third one is going to be text state senator. And I'm going to name it ITM Senator. And the last one is going to be state House Rep. ITM House Rep. And let's see, I think that looks good. Let's save this and test it. And we can scroll down. We see we've got some buttons here. And so it looks like our start screen is done. Okay, so if we look at our assignment, we have completed the screen design. And now we're going to set up the Get Location button to get that to work. So let's go back here and go back here. And so we're going to start by creating a new service. So I'm going to click down here and I'm going to click Service. And I'm going to name the service Geolocation Service. And this is going to be this is a device service, so I'm going to click geolocation here. That's the one we want. I'll click Service. And that's it. So we can just close this. Next, we're going to set up what's called the data source, which connects the service to our device here. So let's click Data, and we're going to add a data source, and it's going to be a device data source. And this is the only device service we have. Click Add, and this is created. Let's name it Get Location. And we don't need any before service mapping because it just comes from our device. Upon success, though, we have to map where we want the results to go. So let's expand and expand. And you see on the right here, these are all the objects on the start screen, on the screen. And this is what comes back from the geolocation service. So what we want to do is in the label latitude, the text field of the label latitude, we want the latitude which comes back to connect to there. And we want the longitude to come back and connect to the text field of the longitude label. And then we can click Save and Return. And okay, that's good. Let's go back to the design screen and connect up the event. So it's when we click this geo coordinates. So the events tab is up here. Select Get Lat Long. That's the name of our button. Should have named it the same. And the action we're going to select is can't see it here. It's invoke service. It's too bad. Okay, anyway, it's invoke service. It's there. And the only services available is Get Location. So let's click Save. And that should do it. So now we can save this and click Test. And when we click on Get Geo Coordinates, we see that it populates. Very good. Okay, let's see what's next. Next, we're going to get the Get Address button to start working. So for the Get Address button, we're going to use this GeoNames service. If you really should go to or you need to go to geonames.org/login, which is here, and you need to register for an account. It's a free account. This is a free service. This service has GeoNames here has many different web services, all the JSON web services here. We're going to use this find nearest address, and that lets us, by sending it a latitude and a longitude, it will return the zip code, the street, and the house number. So that's what we're going to use. So let's go. Let's get started. So let's go back here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to hook up that service. And so this is a new service. And we're going to name it Get Nearest Address. And it's a REST service. So click service, get service, start service. The name is fine. Okay, for the request, let's go back to our assignment. And the URL is right here. So copy that. Click copy. And go back to paste it in here. And okay, so that's there now. For request, we have to set up the inputs. And so there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a one called formatted, which we're going to preset to true. There's a username, and you're going to fill in your username that you set up. And then there's a style that's you're going to preset the word full. And then there's two fields you're going to leave blank, and that's where the latitude and the longitude get filled in. So let's the first one is named formatted, and click add, and we're going to set that to true. And the next one is username, and you need to set that to your username. And the third one is style, and you need to set that to full. And then you need to add a lat and a LNG for longitude. And then we should go down here to test, and we need to test it. So I've given you a couple of, this is the latitude and longitude of my house. So I'll put latitude and longitude. You should use your house. And click test. And we scroll down here and we see this is what comes back. This is exactly what we want to come back. We're going to be using the street number and the street and the postal code. So what I need to do is click this import as response. Click that, and it says service response created successfully. That sets it up so it is aware of these fields coming back. And it needs to be aware of the fields because later we're going to connect them. And so you'll see that. Let's see. Now that we know that works, we can close the tab. Next, we're going to set up our data source, which will connect up the button and the latitude and longitude to that service we just created. So let's click data, and then we're going to add a new source, service this time, and get nearest address is the only one there. Click add, and let's name it get address, and then we're going to set up before send mapping. This sets up the, we're going to set up, we're setting up this get address data source, and the before send are these orange lines here, and then once those have been retrieved, it's going to use this web service here, and the response comes back, and then the response populates the house number, street, and zip code. So that's what we're doing. So expand all, and we see on this side we're going to fill in these two fields, and we're going to grab the latitude text and the longitude text, and that, click save and return. So that sets up our before send mapping. Now we've got to do our success mapping. Click that, open up both sides, expand all, and we're gonna map the result into the text house number, text street, and text zip. And that would be the street number goes into the house number, and the street goes into the street, and the postal code goes into the zip. Okay, click save and return. And that should do it. Oh no, we need to set up go back to design. We need to set up the event, and it's when we click the get address button. So let's find get address here. Get address. Click. The action is going to be, too bad you can't see it, invoke service. It's down here. And we're going to do the get address data source and click save. And now we can click save up here and test. And we can click get coordinates, and we see that, and click get address, and look, that works. Okay. Okay. Next, we've done the get address, and now we're going to do the get elected. We're going to get the get elected button working. And so basically we are setting up getting this button to work, which is going to, so we need to connect up to this web service, define this web service, create the data source, which grabs the house number, street, and zip code, sends it off to this service. It gets back these 4 items along with a bunch of other stuff. So I'm going to start by creating a new service, and I'm going to name it GetElected's service. Create service, and the URL is right here. Copy, paste, and the request parameters. There is a house number, HOUSENO, add, street, add, and zip, add. And so let's test it. So I'm going to put in my address. Click test, and we see this is what comes back. First Congressional, Senate 9, House 17, Council District 4, Precinct 3, Street. This is the match from the street file, which is where you get your precincts. Zip code, county, this is my council representative, my congressman, my state senator, my state representative, my mayor, and so on. So that's fine. We're done with that. We can, I've got to click import as response. Let me see that. Okay, that's good. Now I believe we're done with this. We created the service, and now I need to create the data source. So I'm going to create a new data source, a new service using GetElected's, and I'm going to name it GetElected's. And the before send mapping is going to map the street number, street, and zip code into these. So house number, text to house number, street, text to street, and zip to zip, and save and return. And let's go to the success mapping and expand all. And so this is what comes back. We are going to use congressional rep district, because that's going to include not only the congressman's name, but the district. Senate rep district, House rep district, and mayor district. So it's going to include the actual name of the county. So we're going to use these four here. So let's copy those over into these items now. The mayor gets mayor district. The Congress gets congressional rep district. Senator gets Senate rep district. And House rep gets House rep district. Save and return. Finally, we need to set the event. So that is the event for GetElected here. So I can actually click this here and pop up events, and the GetElected button is already selected. So I can select invoke service down at the very bottom here, and the data source is GetElected. Click save, and that should be it. Click save and test. And now we can click get coordinates, click get address, and click, there they are. So I believe we have completed part 1.